annoying.
Yeah, he's popped off recently.
You don't like DC fandom? Really so much?
Welcome to Real, a show where we explore and discuss topics and themes from our favorite and most popular cinema. I'm your host, Matthew Martinez, and joining us today we have our three fine guests who will be answering my somewhat trivial yet thought-provoking questions. Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Samantha Doyle.
I'm Ty.
I'm D.R.C. Williams.
And the film we're going to be talking about is Ready Player One, originally written by Ernest Cline and the feature film being directed by Steven Spielberg. And before we start off, there's a little clip from the film that I want to show you all, and I hope you all analyze it in one way or another, or just try to take it in, whether it be the visuals or anything like that.
Get ready for the field of real. That's what. No pain, no gain.
Pizza, guys.
That subverts expectations a bit, don't you think? The movie about virtual reality and the future is already starting off with this dystopian dumpster fire.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Okay, let's start off. Get the ball rolling. What do you think about the film's setting? Like, who's our main character? Where are they? What year is it? Things like that.
Well, I can't remember the character's name.
Wade Watts.
Wade
Wade
Watts,
Watts.
yeah. The film takes place in the year of 2045, and I think, and in Columbus, Ohio, and I think it's just showing how technology or video games is consuming the day-to-day lives
The
and
masses.
the masses, and how like people are only focusing on that, and they're not focusing on the cleanliness of where they're living, and you know.
Because they live in this virtual reality where everything is perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do like the detail of it as he's walking through his apartment area, I guess, that he's showing like random people like in the Oasis.
And they don't care about the surroundings
He's
at
just
all.
randomly playing. That's a nice detail they added.
What do you think
I
about the film setting?
I like how cluttered and disgusting, really.
Yeah, the
It
grayscale and all
is,
that.
Yeah,
Like a
the
everything-
Zack Snyder
grayscale,
movie.
It's miserable.
Everything is being depressing and all that.
Yeah.
And when you first saw that, what were your first impressions of the film? Like, what do you think you were getting yourself into?
I thought I was gonna watch a film that took place in like the perfect dystopian society, but I was wrong.
Is there ever a perfect dystopian?
No.
Personally, I thought they were gonna make the Oasis look like a lot different to like the actual world. You know, it's like they show the perfect video game. You know, it's called the Oasis, but it kind of bugs me personally that the Oasis is all so gray. Like it doesn't look that great compared to real life. But that's just me.
I figured I was getting into something that had to do with virtual reality and that the world they're living in is going to be terrible and the virtual world is going to be much better, albeit only on the surface.
It's like the
of course.
gamer's heaven and things.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that word. But anyways, we have another clip coming up soon to, delve more into the lore and how the film really pans out in the end, especially with Halliday, the creator of the Oasis, thinking of what the Oasis should have been, or things like that, talking to Parzival, Wade Watts, the main character.
I created the Oasis because I never felt at home in the real world. I just didn't know how to connect with the people there. I was afraid for all of my life. Right up until the day I knew my life was ending. And that was when I realized that as terrifying and painful as reality can be, it's also the only place that you can get a decent meal. Because reality is real. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Once again, I do not like our main character's avatar again. It just looks so goofy
Yeah.
compared to what Halliday is. And
Silly.
speaking on Halliday, what do you think he meant by reality is real? Was he talking to Wade Watts directly or just the general audience? This goes to all of you. Anyone can answer.
I think he was speaking to the audience at that point. Of course, reality is real, and in a movie where you're comparing it to virtual reality, where there are no real consequences, even for death, when you lose everything, but you can always come back and try again. In reality, there are a lot more realistic consequences for things, and sometimes you can't try again, but you do have to keep moving forward, and that's what reality is, moving forward and progressing.
Yeah.
What's your take on
Like
what Halliday is saying?
the line that he says about like, oh, you can get a decent meal. Like, you know, things like food. You know, there's only a handful of experiences that you can get in real life only compared to a virtual world, that he was trying to really send that message to Wade.
I will have to agree with both of them. I think video games just give a sense of like what reality is not like and how reality is real. Like, you know, you have to, you know, support yourself. You can't, you know, it's easy to support yourself in a game, but not in reality.
And you said the perfect dystopian world earlier.
Yeah.
And you said that can't happen.
Yeah, no, it can't. Like, no world is perfect. I mean, we're always going to have, you know, wars, and we're always going to have, like, you know, political differences, and we're all going to have, like, you know, just no world is perfect. So I think it's the
Not
film.
even a virtual one?
I mean, a virtual, again, that's not reality.
Especially.
It's not real. So, you know, a virtual reality game is going to look perfect, but when it's not.
All right, so I see we're somewhat familiar with the video game aspects of Ready Player One, and we're going to be discussing that a bit more, but we're going to be taking a quick break soon. So, favorite video game?
Animal Crossing.
Minecraft.
Tekken.
Tekken?
Yeah, think about
Very
that.
different. Tekken is very different compared to the other two.
Yes.
All right, the next topic is going to be a bit more serious, so hopefully I don't seem too intrusive or anything like that. And I hope, you know, everything is a bit clean, PG-13 and everything like that.
I'll try.
Okay? Keep everything clean. League of Legends player.
That's anything but.
All right, we're going to take a quick break soon. Hope to see you again very soon. And, you know, be right back, because we'll be right here. Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't show any gameplay for that.
Yeah, that's
Or
true. There's
content.
nothing. Welcome back to Real. Again, we have Ty Nguyen, Dior C. Williams, and Samantha Doyle. Are you guys having fun with this?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's interesting.
And as I said in the previous segment, this segment is going to be a bit more serious, talking about mental health issues, escapism, especially related with Ready Player One. So, before we get into that, what was your introduction to gaming?
I didn't really grow up with video games. I mean, I obviously had a Wii, and like in middle school, I played Minecraft. I mean, who wouldn't play Minecraft in middle school? But and then now I just play Animal Crossing, but I'm not really like glued to it.
Yeah, I grew up with the PlayStation 2 with games like Battlefront 2. Then I got my own laptop for Minecraft as well, got into League. Got a PlayStation 3 when I was in middle school, and I was that squeaker on Modern Warfare 2. And then now
So that was you.
Yeah, that was me. And now I have a gaming PC where I play most of my multiplayer games, and a PlayStation 4.
And even though you have those multiplayer games, I bet you spend a lot of money on them.
I don't want to talk about it.
Dior C., what was your introduction to games?
I started with a Nintendo 64 when I was about 2 years old. Then I regressed actually to Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and then got a PlayStation 1, GameCube, that weapon of a system, a Dreamcast.
So you have all the old
PS2.
consoles.
Yeah.
You've been there from the start.
Yeah, all of them. All of them. I'm a dinosaur. Oh, man.
And since you've been there from the start, would you say you've ever been addicted to video games in any shape or form? Whether it just be you procrastinating or just constantly playing, even when someone tells you to stop, anything like that?
Absolutely. I failed middle school because of a game called Super Smash Bros. Melee. I was really good at it.
I could never finish the target practice.
I think too good at it.
Anyway, this is a serious topic, serious conversation. But yeah, video game addiction has it been in your life at least more than once, or just only one time?
I'd say just that one time.
One time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like severely, like I don't think it's a problem, but like I said, Modern Warfare 2, a lot of FPS games during that time, and now present day it's League, and I think that's worse than it was before.
You say it's not exactly severe, but has it ever been a time where you just kept playing even though when you knew you should have stopped?
Oh yeah, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Oh, okay. Recent wounds.
Like I use that as a way to procrastinate, basically, and then sometimes I do it way more than I should.
And Animal Crossing is a very time-consuming game.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught yourself like procrastinating or doing anything else?
No, because like when I've played it, it's usually been like when I'm not, when I don't have homework or like it's just on my downtime.
At the end of the day?
At the end of the day, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't
That's
really,
too responsible.
So the only one who can manage their time?
but I wouldn't say like I'm able to put it down and like walk away from it.
Self-control.
Yeah, I do have self.
Self-control is a very ongoing topic in Ready Player One because no one has it.
Yeah.
Everyone is constantly in the Oasis, never wanting to leave and all that. And speaking of that, we have another clip from the film coming up soon that we're going to be analyzing and talking about. But I see we're all steady in self-control mentally.
The more coin you make, the more you level up. If you get killed, your avatar can come back to life, but you lose all your stuff. Everything you've ever worked for. All your money. Your clothes. Your weapons. Since people spend most of their time in the Oasis, losing your shit means, well, losing your shit.
And on that scene, it's a bit chaotic, don't you think? Like, based on what you saw from there, the man about to jump out the window commits suicide because he lost in a video game. Do you think that could actually happen in today's society of how video game addiction works?
I'm not sure. I think
Was that scene realistic, do you think?
yes. I think that one of our professors brought up one of the stories from 5 years ago of how two parents neglected a child, and that was 6 months, and they were playing a game that consisted of taking care of a child, and because they were neglected the child died of starvation. So I think, based off of that, I can definitely see that being like in today's society.
And I remember reading that article, and the thing about it is, in the comment section, there was people being more understanding of the parents on their actions, of letting the kid die because they were focused on a video game. There are people being sympathetic towards them for their actions. Do you think that's a problem? Well, it obviously is a problem, but personally, why do you think people are agreeing with them, letting them do that?
Probably people as addicted as
People as addicted, the
Yeah.
same as the parents, you think?
I think that could be the reason, but I also think that there are some who understand that admonishment for a wrongdoing, especially one as severe as that, isn't necessarily going to help. Of course, they know that what they did was wrong, so there's no real need to rub it in. What they need is understanding.
And they never really acknowledge what they did because they're in prison now, because they never acknowledged that. They should actually take care of they should actually focus on really snap back to reality,
Right.
That's something they never did. And that's a reoccurring theme in this movie. And besides your own personal stories, do you think video game addiction is very real in today's society, especially with Ready Player One being the basic depiction of it?
I do believe it's video game addiction is very real in today's world. I think I'm gonna like make an analogy, but you know how like people who do school shootings, they do it based off of a video game, and they they think that when they're going into a school and shooting people, they think it's a video game.
It's ranking up points.
In ranking up points, exactly. Like how many kills they do, it's like ranking points.
And there's been many controversies revolving shooting games, and there's a scene in, I think it was Modern Warfare 2,
Oh yeah.
where they,
The airport scene.
no, Russian,
Yeah.
where they shot up an airport. And the thing about that is, it was for a mission, but it was just practical terrorism. And kids try to replicate that practical terrorism in today's society, whether it be schools or any public areas, movies, anything like that. And is it video game addiction that does that, or is it some other mental health issue that is not yet addressed?
I do think that video games can lead to events like that, but I don't think it's actual video games' fault. It's more.
You don't think it's the source?
Because it's a source of entertainment. You know, it's a pastime. If stuff like that happens, like for the Modern Warfare 2, for example, that's part of that campaign. You know, and there's now an option to skip it, but I think it's up to more the individual to distinguish the differences.
They only give you that option to skip it because of the controversy revolving around it.
Yes.
And do you think people either be that morbid mission it was? Do you think video games are a source of relief, or is it more towards grinding and addiction?
I think now it's more towards that sort of grinding sort of gameplay. You know, people, especially now, play a lot of it. And initially it's for stress, but I think now it's more of just to pass the time. But I think people take that too much into account.
And Yorsi, you've been there since the dawn of time, like as you said, and you were there from the start. Have games always been grindy, or has it just been more casual back then compared to what it is now? Because with people, esports being a major thing, being able to make an income from video games, and that relates to Ready Player One, because that's how the Oasis was. Back then, did you ever think this was possible?
Yes, actually.
The evolution of video games being
presumed,
now?
yes, it would evolve into something similar to that, people making money off of playing the video game or playing it well. However, back then, I'd say video games have always been grindy. Of course, they didn't have as much space to work with as they did, so they had to pad out the game and have you complete certain tasks, as remedial or irritating as they might be. They would have you complete those tasks and grind for more and more and more time. But in that, I think there's certainly a sense of escape in understanding that it's a form of reality not too far removed from our own, in which we have the resources there and it's much easier to acquire them. And so there's more of a reward when you grind and it finally pays off, as opposed to reality where you don't know when it's going to pay off or if it's going to pay off. But I do think there is a form of stress relief in video games.
Okay. This is going to be a really quick question because we're running out of time. After talking about everything, discussing, acknowledging the things Ready Player One talks about, its themes and topics, what would you rate the movie out of 10? And be honest, whether it be the cinematography or anything else. 5?
6.
In regards to themes, I'd say 7.
7? Do you think it realistically addresses every problem there is?
Not all of them, but a lot of them, yes.
Okay. All right, we're going to be wrapping it up. Thank you all for watching. This has been the first episode of Real to Real. I hope to see you guys very soon. In the comments below, let us know what you think. All right, I'm Matthew Martinez. This has been Real to Real. Great job.